What's up, everyone? It's Adam Zdroik here of RotoWire. I'm here. I'm back. I was going to do this end of season, a little bit of a summer preview a week ago, and then life happened. I had the graphic all set up. I had everything set up. I was going to do it last Tuesday, and then just happened overnight. Ended up in the hospital. My wife is in labor. Ended up having a baby, so I am now a father. So I might be a bit baby brained here on this show. Maybe I'll get my words mixed up a little bit, but I'm just going to recap a few things, going to go over a bunch of stuff, look back at the season a little bit, look back at some of Moneyball's lineups a little bit and his winnings over the last couple major contests. Then look to the future a little bit, see what kind of content RotoWire is going to have. And, RotoWire, soccer in general, the shortest off season of any sport. We have these Nations League games. We have all these international matches that are happening. They just started up yesterday. They're going to keep going for the next week. These guys have like a month off from play, which is just ridiculous. Some of these Manchester City guys get called up to the national team. They're probably still hammered. They're probably still drunk, getting called up. We know Jack Grealish is, but soccer. European soccer, at least. MLS has a bit more of an off season, but European soccer, like some of the top players, there's just no break for them. It's kind of ridiculous. And as you'll see once we get into some of the Women's World Cup talk, we're going to be taking a little bit of a break. I'll say we're not going to have full Women's World Cup, daily DFS videos for that. I'm going to apologize for that. Maybe I shouldn't apologize. It's going to be not going to be going full out for the Women's World Cup, but we will have content. We will have stats for pretty much everything. So I'm going to get into that. I'm not going to talk about, a specific contest. So if you're here for specific contest talk for the Wednesday Nations League match, I think it's Netherlands, Croatia, or LAFC against Houston. I'm not going to be talking about that. So this show is for the people. I'm a man of the people. This one's for the people. It's going to recap some content. Maybe some of this stuff you already know. Maybe some of this stuff is kind of basic here that I'm going to talk about for DFS. But I just want to thank all the fans for following us this season. At RotoWire, I think this was the most DFS content we've ever had. I think it was about maybe a little more than a year ago. Towards the end of last season, we only started doing showdown content. So we've done, if you've been following us, if you can believe that, like we've done showdown content all season. So we had the content coming. We had separate articles for cash games and GPPs towards the end there in that final contest. But biggest season yet for RotoWire soccer in terms of DFS. So I want to thank all the fans for following us. We increased that YouTube count. We increased the podcast listeners. So I want to thank everyone for following along during the season. It's been a busy one. And then it all culminated into a baby for me. So congrats to me, I guess, on that. But it's been a fun season. It's been a busy season. As I said, a little bit of an off season, but still got a show coming out for everyone. So thanks for watching, everyone. Also got to thank all the writers, all the podcast guys. Got to thank Ryan Belangi, Jack Burkhart, Jordan Cooper, Dane Scheinall also jumped on, and then all the other writers at RotoWire for all their content that we have with player notes and whatnot. But we had Jack, we had Dane this season for DFS and added a little bit overall to our content. Both those guys experienced DFS players, and I think that helped increase the level of our coverage a little bit. I'm always scoping out other sites to see what the competition's like, and I think, the RotoWire soccer DFS content in general is just a step above everyone else. I can argue that. Sure, maybe I'm a little biased, but unbiased opinion, I'll say our content is better than everyone else's. So I want to thank everyone for following along, for subscribing, all that good stuff. And good news is for the subscribers, we still got content throughout the season. As everyone can see, for all the Discord people, all the diehards for DFS, we do have NWSL stats. It's hidden. It's a little bit hidden on our page. I think I got to change that here, but we do have full range of NWSL content. I'll get a little bit into that later. We got some comments. Just gonna check out some content, some some comments here. The UCL slate was awful. Okay, I don't think it was that awful. Thank you. Welcome to the most amazing club in the world from Chris Robinson Fatherhood. Thank you. Yes, it's been a busy week running on. I can't remember the last time I got more than 5 hours of sleep, but whatever. Sleep. Does sleep matter at this point? Probably not. Sleep doesn't matter for me at this point. So Grealish probably over the limit. The players need a break, especially with the Winter World Cup. Agreed. Yeah, I didn't even mention the World Cup. Throw in all this regular season stuff, and then we had the World Cup right in the middle of the winter for us. So tons of content, tons of work, I guess you can say, just in general. But man, so yeah, Champions League slate. So I, I'll talk about myself a little bit here, but I had a Rodri captain. I put together, I think I had 4 tickets. I had a Rodri captain. I could have been in that top 5 leaderboard with who was up there: Redcoat, Moneyball, a Strike World Pride. I had the Rodri captain, but I'm gonna blame Ryan. I'm gonna blame Ryan Belangi here for the Çalhanoğlu over DeMarco. I listened to the show on that Saturday. He talked about, I mean, obviously no one's going to guess that DeMarco was going to go a full 90, was going to play longer than Çalhanoğlu. Like, DeMarco wasn't even healthy. He wasn't a guy who went full 90s all season. Then it turned out DeMarco ended up with 10 more points than Çalhanoğlu. So my Rodri captain would have matched all those guys in the top 5, except I had Çalhanoğlu over DeMarco. I think it was only, I don't know, 200 payout, 150 payout. So that one kind of sucked. But just in terms of these contests here, I want to talk about a little bit just about Moneyball here. Maybe not as much in terms of the showdown, because I mean, Moneyball is one of the guy who he maxes out his entries. So, a lot of people that listen to the show, the majority of people listen to the show aren't going to have, 150 entries into a showdown, into any of these contests, really. Moneyball is one of those guys who does that. If you want to download his lineups from DraftKings and see what he does, I mean, you can get into that a little bit, but as you can see, if you look at it, a lot of his top lineups. So Moneyball picks out, he has 6 guys, and then he kind of rotates his captain for his lineups. So all of his, I think probably his top 6 lineups. So he had Ederson, KDB, Grealish, DeMarco, Gundogan, Rodri, and then he basically just, because he has so many lineups, he just has a captain of every one of those guys, but all those same 6 guys. So it turned out that I think there was a late tweak in the stats that Ederson captain actually worked out for him, because he did not actually win. He did split it with someone else, but he did not win after a couple tweaks. But in the King of the Pitch, maybe I think is more relevant to just like the general people who don't enter, max enter contest, is Moneyball's a little bit of a different player than a lot of people. If you're looking at lineups, even like Jordan Cooper on the show, Belangi, like Moneyball plays a little different. He goes all in on whatever maybe his projections are, whatever he thinks, kind of a thing. He doesn't really go with. So for King of the Pitch, I mean, you can look through Moneyball's lineups, and he kind of had, I mean, he had Jesus, Gabriel Jesus, Saka, Bruno, and Porro in all 8 of his lineups. And then he basically did a bunch of 2v2s. I think he had Matt Target in 6 of his lineups. He only used 2 goalkeepers, David Raya and Emiliano Martinez. And then he used Leo Trossard a couple times. I think he was in his winning lineup. So he did a bunch of 2v2s, but he just went all in on these guys, and his top 4 guys all hit. And I mean, if you want to copy the strategy, this is just a win or bust strategy. Clearly, it's worked out in his favor the last couple of weeks, and maybe you can just ignore everything that's happened the past 6 months for him. I'm sure he has more winnings than that, but I mean, from that perspective, it's like, okay, he's won so much over these last 2 main contests in soccer that maybe the past 5 months, whatever, doesn't really matter as much. So you could take that approach. It's like, okay, it's a win or bust strategy. I look back at last season, Moneyball. I mean, I don't know how long he's been playing the strategy, but recent future, he didn't, out of his 8 lineups last season, none of them finish in the top 100. So if you want to compare things, it's like, okay, Moneyball just dominated everyone, but his strategy is just so you're either going to win or you're going to lose. And I mean, from an outside perspective, that makes sense. That's kind of what DFS is. That's kind of what GPPs are. If you ask a lot of people, it's like it doesn't matter if you get fifth place. You want to get first place. You want to get the 100K. You want to get all those winnings, and you can see that in Moneyball's lineups. I mean, that's what he does. It worked for him this season. Didn't work for him last season. I mean, if you combine those 2 seasons, clearly, whatever he's been up the last couple slates, he has. I don't know. Maybe it's nearing a half a million. I'm not sure if it's that high or not because he enters a bunch of smaller stuff. But let me I'll quickly read through some comments here. Not on a specific timeline. Kind of want to keep this within 30 minutes, but again, this is a show for the people, so I'll read through some comments. Yeah, as Jack said, DeMarco 90 minutes, crazy outlier outcome. Can't disagree with that. Chalna did next to nothing. Yeah, I mean, when you look at it secondarily, I mean, 2020 hindsight in terms of this matchup, it's like, okay, we know Inter Milan aren't going to get that many set pieces. And how much of the ball are they going to have? Çalhanoğlu, more of a central role, so he's not going to be on the outside getting a lot of crosses. It's something that DeMarco was doing a little bit as Inter Milan were chasing that match. I mean, you can hindsight that one plenty, but obviously we didn't expect DeMarco to go 90. So it was just this situation where it just happened. What are you going to do? Oh, I forgot to mention here, supporting the I got a Ballard FC kit on from Chris Owen. This is one of my winnings from Kits and Wagers from one of our 10 bets at the end of season on Kits and Wagers. So shouts to Chris Owen on getting that prize sent over to me. Yeah, I forgot to mention, KDB went off early. Apparently he snapped his hamstring in that game. Tough for him to go down in another game. Moneyball, very narrow player pool always, according to Jack. Yeah, and that's the very narrow player pool. Just kind of does it in cash games. He doesn't care about percentages in cash games, but his projections are just a step above a lot of people's. Let me quickly read through some comments. 17K swing for the guy. Yeah, late stat changes in the Champions League final. All right, here we go. I think I got through the comments a little bit. I'll read through them more if they're still coming, but so that's it there for Moneyball. I think he got enough praise, I'll say. But no longer King of the Pitch winner Ryan Belangi. I believe he finished in 8th in that contest, so still got some winnings. Well, a little bit disappointing. Still had some success there. I wrote down a few notes, so I didn't jump too much off track here. I wrote down Holland here, just in terms of next season and how we're going to attack Holland. That's months away, so this doesn't really matter. But Holland's just going to continue to be a talking point, and I'm not sure there's really an answer in terms of how you're going to use him and how you're going to play him. The one thing, I mean, you can't. Hindsight here in terms of this Inter Milan match, okay, Inter Milan, but going into the match, everyone was talking about, okay, Manchester City in this formation have struggled a little bit against the 3-5-2, struggled a little bit against Brentford with that 3-5-2. They didn't look great in one of those games against Tottenham. They didn't look amazing in one of those games against Chelsea, kind of a thing, when they went through 3-5-2. So just maybe something to think about. Again, this is 2 months away from now. Pep's probably going to, after he's done celebrating here, he's probably going to come out next season with a new formation. They're no longer going to do the 3-2-4-1 without Bernardo Silva. Maybe, mix it up a little bit. We'll see how that lineup looks like. Maybe they just plug in Phil Foden instead of Bernardo, but they're adding Kovacic. They're getting a little bit more depth, defensive midfield, probably going to add someone else. There's been talks of adding, Josko Gvardiol from Leipzig over in Bundesliga. So But I mean, I could give some analysis on Manchester City, but they're going to add players, and it's a slate by slate thing. So there's nothing really to say about it. Um, in terms of these slates here, in terms of DraftKings, we got Netherlands, Croatia in this Nations League match. They got 2K to first. I mean, one thing I'll just say here is like Nations League is glorified friendlies. Okay. So we got glorified friendlies between Netherlands and Croatia. Okay. We got two pretty big teams here, but just the fact that we're getting these bigger contests for basic friendlies here. Uh, we'll see what the lineups look like. We could just get like a mess of lineups from Netherlands and Croatia. We'll see what happens with that. But just comparing just these friendlies, these Nation League friendlies is what I'm calling them, with this MLS showdown on Wednesday. It's just like, okay, we got 2K to first for Nations League. We only have $120 to first in the max MLS contest. So a couple weeks ago, I forgot who it was in the Discord mentioned that okay, so when NHL, when NBA are over, DraftKings is going to look at the numbers and maybe they're going to increase the contest for MLS over the summer. Maybe it's just talk, but all of these MLS contests, Phil, maybe I don't want to say all, but every contest that I play, every contest that I look at, all of the big MLS contests, which are MLS shootout, 120 to first, all of them fill so much that most of them they're secondary shootouts. So that's been going on for months now. Yet DraftKings still hasn't increased the payouts for any of these MLS contests. So we'll see if they actually they actually increase the numbers in terms of MLS. I mean, everyone's going to still play them. All of our subscribers are going to still play them. All the diehards are going to still play MLS, but you'd like to see at a minimum, a 1K to first contest, maybe even a little higher. I know originally DraftKings started with bigger contests for MLS and they didn't fill, but it's the summer. The people want contests. The people want to play. And the bigger the contests are, the more people you're going to get from the outside, the more outsiders you're going to get, in addition to the diehards, like our subscribers that we have will play. So we'll see if DraftKings lives up to their word. As Jack's saying, a 1K to first prize pool filled in Liga MX. I'm not sure if that was one of the finals, one of the final showdowns. But as Jack said, no response, nothing. 1K to first in Liga MX, no, not again. It's just like throughout the season, these contests have been filling in the Premier League, even like the smaller Bundesliga one Saturday morning. DraftKings just they don't really care. They can make more money. I mean, this is just like a common refrain in our Discord, rotowire.com/soccer trial. You get that free 48-hour trial. And then to get into our Discord, rotowire.com/chat. But yeah, I mean, we've had these conversations many times. It's just the thing with DraftKings where they don't really care about soccer. It's just like too small of a minnow. They're also putting a lot of stock into betting instead of DFS a little bit, and they don't care that contests are filling. Is what we've seen. Even though contests are filling, even though they're making money off all these contests, even though they could make more money if they make bigger contests, they don't really care. So that's kind of what we're left with. But what else we got? So that's a lot of DFS talk. In terms of RotoWire content, so we got to see that we got a summer coming up, and as you can see, we've been busy. We've been busy with a lot of random stuff. We got this is Çalhanoğlu's brother here, Kerem Çalhanoğlu, playing in Bundesliga. Okay, so speaking of Çalhanoğlu, we got all these updates. We got a new signing from FC Cincinnati, from a Gabon striker, Bupenza. So we got all our content, all our content people putting in updates, never ending. The soccer market is never ending. But if you play MLS, we do have all the cheat sheets. So I sent in a request for NWSL cheat sheets, but I don't think we're going to get that because we don't get the odds for that. Maybe that'll change. something to look into. But just in terms of stats and NWSL, in terms of the summer, as I said, we will have Women's World Cup. We will cover the Leagues Cup. I also wonder if DraftKings might have a little bigger contest for Leagues Cup because it is a tournament. So that'll be something to check out. Uh, the Leagues Cup is like MLS and Liga MX teams are doing like this tournament basically. I don't know how many teams it is. Maybe it might be all teams that are taking part in it, but it's just like a tournament to find a winner. It's taking place I think it starts in August, so it's kind of right around when European season's back. But that should be a fun thing to do. Fun thing to play, fun thing to check out. So hopefully, maybe some bigger contests with that. We will have content for that. We will have Women's World Cup content, stats, lineups, cheat sheets. As I said, probably not going to have DFS shows for Women's World Cup. We'll see what my feelings are come end of July, but I will be taking a little bit of paternity leave in July, and I don't really want to return to just massive breakdowns of the Women's World Cup. So apologies on that. Um, but in terms of NWSL, we do have all the stats here. And I think I've only played one slate in terms of NWSL on DraftKings. I think the contests are maybe about the same size of MLS, probably maybe a little bit smaller. They'll have the usual near post single entries. I think they might even have shootouts. I can't remember exactly right now, but we do have all of the stats. While we don't have the cheat sheets, you can. Okay, I know this is a little too much work for some of you people to look at these stats and look at these certain things here, but DraftKings is using 2021 stats, and so when you play NWSL, and I don't know how many people that play WSL are non-RotoWire subscribers. Um, I kind of notice I only played one slate, but I know it's a pretty big advantage just for I looked at our stats for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, and there seemed to be like a lot of people a lot of people that play those are either looking at the 2021 stats or just, I don't know, going off some random numbers. But as you can see, so we got these team pages here that you can kind of just look through. So you got a game log for each of these teams, but probably most relevant is we just have the stats here. We have all these player stats. You can sort by corner, or you can sort by crosses, you can sort by corners, and then really you can just see here. It's not too difficult to do your own work instead of just going off the cheat sheets. But you can sort by corners, you can sort by shots, and that's just kind of what I was looking at. I'm not even looking at DFS numbers or anything like that. It's okay. Okay. So Penelope Hawking, tons of shots, some crosses as well. Doesn't matter that she's maybe not a majority corner taker. I mean, you get all the stats here. I don't have to tell everyone who's watching the show how to read stats, but we also have, if we can click into profiles here, and as you can see, we have all of these corner numbers as well, like we do for every other league. So we have all these player profiles. We also cover injuries. So we have all that. We also have all these notes for these players. I mean, the notes are okay, whatever. That's just what we do here at RotoWire. But we have all the content. What I found most useful were those team pages. I mean, we do have, if you like other things, you want to use defense versus position kind of a thing. Looking up, I don't know how a team does against left backs or right backs or just strikers or something like that. Defense versus positions. We do get formations from Opta. While we do not plug in lineups ourselves, we do get those Opta formations. I'm not entirely sure how reliable those are, but we also have. I do want to say NWSL puts out their lineups, I think, quicker than MLS, so that's another bonus. And from what I saw from the lineups I've seen, they also kind of tweet out their formations in their lineups. So better than a lot of MLS teams. So MWSL probably maybe easier to play DFS wise, but we also got stat trends. We got team stats, player stats, team trends, all that good stuff. as you can see here. We have all that for all the leagues, and then MLS, of course. Yeah, Women's World Cup. Let me go through these questions here a little bit. DraftKings just counting down the days till NFL. That they are. That they are. Yeah, we have some Gold Cup matches. USA it will be playing in a little bit here. They'll be going to camp in a little bit. I'm not sure when their first game is, but their showdowns will probably be a little bit bigger because it is USA. And with nothing else going on, we'll see. Ryan Belangi printing money in Women's World Cup DFS. I wouldn't say that was last summer. That was probably the Olympics that he was printing money in last year. Leagues Cup. Yes. Women's World Cup is this year. I'm sure as I'm reading through these comments. Oh, it was the Euros? Okay. I could have sworn there was Olympics recently as well, but maybe I'm wrong in that statement. There is a lot of the one thing about Women's World Cups, yeah, we're gonna have to look at the times. The times differ a little bit. Some of the USA ones are fine. I think there's might be a 10 p.m. Eastern start time, a little bit different. I know this isn't the best comment, the greatest content as I'm reading through comments here, but that's kind of it. That's kind of what we have for the summer content. MLS as usual, NWSL. Liga MX starts, I think, June 30th. It starts in 17 days. So we got Liga MX coming back as well. If you guys want something else, also in terms of like what we're providing here at RotoWire, send me a message in Discord or send me a message on Twitter. I'll check it out. We're currently in the process of getting better projections for soccer. That's the goal right now. That's the goal right now. When Andrew Laird left 2 years ago, he had been working on getting his projections into our system, and it's just been a process. So hopefully these Laird projections, and maybe we're gonna make a few tweaks to them, are gonna come out. We're gonna get these in the system, and so the goal is with these new projections. So we're working on throughout the season. So we're gonna get these projections. First off, the main goal right now is to use them with FPL, with Fantrax. But again, this is more of a DFS show, and I know we like to hate on FPL, but FPL is extremely popular. So we got to have the FPL content. But so we're going to get these projections. But I think with these projections, we can also plug in DraftKings stats into them. So maybe fingers crossed we get these projections and they're looking good and they're looking, a little better than what we currently have. And so we have like RotoWire's own projections here in addition to everything else, in addition to the other projections that you can use. Let me just go into let me see if I can find an optimizer here. I'm not sure if I'll be able to because it's okay. Yeah, I can't really find an optimizer here, but currently our projections, like we can use, you can plug in your own custom projections. You can use just ceiling upside, all this stuff, points per 90 minutes, upload your own. As I said, average of DraftKings points. Maybe, the goal is, so we have these RotoWire projections just to get these a little better. And to improve these. If you use these, hopefully, like we'll get to a point at the start of the next Euro season where we have better projections, where they're just better. They're just better. That's the goal. Again, it's gonna, as it says here. I mean, okay, we're gonna base these off of odds. We're gonna base these off of prior stats a little bit. So, and we're gonna plug these in to the projections, and hopefully this will be a little more helpful than what it currently is. So I'm not sure if you're watching this, if you ever used the projections on the site. So that's one of the things we're working on this summer to try and improve. But otherwise, just want to thank everyone. Again, I've been talking for 30 minutes. We still got people watching live. I don't know how much stuff I've actually said that's been helpful at all. I'm just talking about a bunch of stuff here. But again, thanks everyone for following. Hopefully, next season we'll see what happens. We'll see what the schedule looks like. I'll try and I'll try and come up with some new ideas of some more content and see what we can do. Um, Otherwise, I'm not sure if we're gonna have more DFS content because we did have a lot this past season. Not sure we're gonna have more content, but maybe we'll have better content. So that's one thing to look forward to. Again, any questions? Let me know on Discord. Let me know on Twitter. Any ideas? Maybe we can maybe something you think will be more helpful in terms of DFS or in terms of anything else. Just let me know. And we'll try and get that worked out. But right now, the main goal here over the summer is get these projections going. And if you play FPL, if you play in Fantrax, that'll be helpful. And then hopefully we'll get that going in terms of DFS. But I think that's all I got. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for watching throughout the season. It's been a fun season. And I think Jack is working on some more strategy articles. Jack Burkhart is working on some more strategy articles. Blanking on what we last talked about, but we talked about something. I'm not sure what we talked about, but I believe he's in the process of writing. As you can see, we still have prior articles. If you want to look back at last season's Q&A with Ryan Belangi, last year's King of the Pitch winner, I still think we talked a lot about general questions on that show. So if you're new to DFS or want just like a couple more tips here and there from Ryan Belangi, still one of the best DFS soccer players there is. So always check that one out. And then Jack, as you can see on the screen here, we got optimizing for a 1-0 result. Of course, always a goalkeeper, captain, or bust for me. And then he also got a single entry tournament one. I also, this is the end of the show here, but I also want to say, if anyone here is like interested in So Rare, I might consider doing some So Rare content. I've been playing for a couple years, and I know it's like it's kind of like So Rare is like over here, and DFS is like over here, and then FPL is kind of somewhere else as well. So I know the So Rare circles aren't really the same. So maybe I'm talking to only DFS people, and the people don't play So Rare. But if that's something that would interest people, let me know. I'm not Andrew Laird over here to where it's my job to just continually analyze So Rare prices and all that. But I have been playing for a couple years, so if anyone wants like that kind of content as well, maybe something to think about. But thank you everyone for the season, for following this summer as well. Again, we're going to be around in the Discord, rotowire.com/chat. Yes, please, So Rare. I'll throw it. We do have a bunch of Andrew Laird when he worked here. We do have a bunch of like how-to So Rare videos. Again, I'm not exactly sure how relevant those are because a lot of them are from 1 to 2 years ago. I believe there's like a how-to So Rare in here. I could do something like that, kind of like a basic thing to where things now are with So Rare. I think that maybe would help a little bit more from some of the older videos. And even then, I'm still kind of a beginner compared to a lot of people. It's not like I don't have 10K, 50K, 100K in my So Rare account. I'm like a sub $1,000 player over there. It's kind of more of a thing to pay attention to all these random leagues. Kind of helps my job a little bit as well. So I'm following all these random players, all these random leagues, that kind of thing. So it helps a little bit in terms of that. So it's also something to where like if you want to familiarize yourself with other leagues that you don't normally follow, I think So Rare helps a little bit in terms of that aspect. You can play for free. You can play for 500. You can play for 5,000. Something fun like that. You can call it an investment if you want, but it's for me, it hasn't been the best investment yet, but maybe I'm just terrible. What do you know? But thanks everyone for following. You can find me at RotoZdroik. Again, check us out in our Discord. We'll be there all summer. I may do some MLS videos as we get going throughout the season. I'll check out the July 4th last season. I did some July betting videos in MLS. Maybe we'll do something like that. So keep following this YouTube account, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you, everyone. I talked too long already, 35 minutes. We'll see everyone over the summer. Thanks for following throughout this season. And hey, let's keep winning throughout the summer. So we got some good, nice bankrolls as we get into August.